welcome back to the channel Coderates. And from the today's thumbnail you would have seen that it is a comparison video between the Neon database and the Supabase. So without wasting time, let's first dive into the Neon database, then I will compare between two and how you can use it in your projects. So as you can see, this one is the dashboard of the Neon database, where you can see that I have created two branches. The next one is the how much time I have used the computation in my project. So this one is 0.86. Next one is the storage, then network is the network transfer. So first one, let's go to the branches feature, which Supabase also doesn't provide you. In the Neon you can create basically branches like GitHub, where you can test your database into another branch without affecting the main branch, okay, which basically helps you in the testing and prevents you from the main errors. So this one is the branches feature. Next one is about the integration, where you can integrate the GitHub Vercel and Netlify to your what is the Neon to the Neon database. Next one is the authentication feature, which Supabase also provides you in the authentication feature, but Neon lacks that. Neon doesn't give you the feature of the authentication like the Supabase provides of OTP, then email, when you log in the email goes to you like that. It just gives you authentication for the database, okay. Then you can monitor your usage. Then like Supabase, this also gives you the SQL editor, where you can give the command and you can create the columns, also you can edit it. Then the creation of the table, like I have created for my API register project, there is the quota limit. Then the subscription who have bought, the ones who have bought in my API register. The next one is also the feature of the backup and restore if your data gets misplaced. Now let me also show you the first how you can connect the Neon database to your website. So you can click on this button connect, and you just need to copy this URL to your env file, and your site will automatically get connect. Also there are the two commands which you can run in your Node.js server, which will means you run it in the terminal and it will directly connect the Neon database to your website, and then you can edit your columns in the SQL editor, and your site will get customized accordingly, okay. Next one, let me show you first the plan of the Neon database. So it's much cheaper than the Supabase, okay. It allocates you the 2 CPU, then you can scale up to 100 projects, then storage on of 500 MB, okay. So this were all the feature about the Neon data. So now let's see the Supabase. So now on the project overview, you can see that the status is healthy, means your connection is healthy. Then next one is the table editor, where similar function like of the Neon database, where you can see the tables. Then next one is the SQL editor, where you can put the commands, and after the execution you can edit your columns and the tables you have created. Next one is the database, like you can manage your data, tables, functions, triggers in your database, okay. Then the authentication, same as of the Neon, but doesn't provide the features like of Neon, that I told you, that email verification that Supabase provides you. Then next one is about the OTP and everything that the Supabase provides you, okay. Now one main feature that Supabase provides you seen in the Neon database that it gives only 500 MB of storage. Supabase also gives you 500 MB of the storage, but it also gives you additional 1 GB storage for images, videos and files. Yes, you can create your new bucket, and you can just, after the connection you make with the Supabase, with the, and there are two keys, that is anon and the public key. When you connect these two keys in your env file, okay, directly when you create your new bucket and making correction in the code, your bucket gets connected directly to your code, and your images are directly stored in the Neon, in the Supabase. There is no different change for it, okay. Then next one is about the how you can directly, because these are not that much main features directly, let me show you how you can connect in the connection. when you click on the API keys, these are the two keys which are visible, that is publish key and next one is the anon key. These two keys you need to integrate in your project and your Supabase is been connected. So main difference between the Neon and the Supabase is that if there is an inactivity of the 7 days in Supabase, your project get paused, you get a tenure of 90 days that where you can resume your project. Otherwise, if you fail to resume your project before 90 days, your project gets vanished, means basically your database get vanished, you cannot restore it. Whereas in Neon, after every 5 minutes it gets on a sleep mode, not it goes on a pause mode. Okay, it's basically, for example, your laptop, when you make your laptop on a sleep mode, okay, and when you click on the spacebar, your laptop wakes up very early in just a second. Similarly, Neon database, when you trigger it, just get wakes up in a second, not like Supabase. It basically, your project get paused, then you go on the Supabase, then you resume your project, then it will take up to 1 minute. Also, your project can get paused. If your project get paused and someone is on your project and he is doing continue with Google, your project will not store his data. He will not be able to log in. It's not the problem in the Neon database. Yes, Neon doesn't provide you the authentication feature, but yes, you can do a normal login through the Neon, like not the feature of the continue with Google, that authentication features of verification that isn't provided by the Neon database. That's the disadvantages of the Neon. If you have a good backend work, then I will prefer you the Neon. And if you are a beginner to the backend services, then you can just connect the Supabase. It's very friendly, user friendly to use, and you can connect it very easily. Both can be connected very easily. Also, the Supabase upgrade plan is much costlier than the Neon, uh, but the main feature that Supabase gives you, that the 1 GB of file storage, that's a plus point in the Supabase. Like you can see here, I have connected my API suggester to the Supabase as well as Neon. You can use this also feature, that I have used API suggester authentication for authentication in API suggester. I have used the Supabase, and for storing I have used the Neon database. This you can also use to store your data, which makes your project continuous stable and your project will not get paused. You can use this feature also. Yes, one more disadvantages of Supabase is that it cannot handle more API calls if you are on a free tier plan. Yes, it doesn't, what we can say, if suppose there is 1,000 API calls from your project to the Supabase, your plan can get exited, whereas it isn't a problem in the Neon. But yes, you can handle that error by applying the local storage, or sorry, local cache in your browser. Like, you can fix a time where only at that time the API call will take place from the Supabase, and then your data will get updated in your website, and accordingly it will be stored in your cache. So this was all about the Neon database and Supabase. If you felt this video was good, then hit the like button, also subscribe the channel, and if you have any queries about the Neon database and Supabase, you can just comment down and I will surely meet you in the comment section.